Hello, and welcome back to Iraqi Dinar Alert. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that has fueled countless discussions, forums, and a lot of hope for investors. The Iraqi Dinar. We're going to cut through the noise and talk about the truth behind RVRI and float predictions. What do these terms really mean, and what should investors actually know? For years, the dinar has been a hot topic for people hoping for a massive return on their investment. You've probably heard the terms revaluation, reinstatement, and float thrown around. But often, they're misunderstood, leading to some pretty unrealistic expectations. So let's break it down, starting with RV, or revaluation, is when a government officially and suddenly changes its currency's value, usually upward. Think of it as a government decree. The exchange rate changes overnight, not because of market forces. Mini dinar. Investors dream that Iraq will suddenly change the rate from around 1,300 dinars to the dollar to something incredible. Like 1 dinar equals $1, or even $3. But let's be clear, such a dramatic jump is extremely rare in modern economics. For that to happen, Iraq would need massive foreign reserves, long-term stability, zero corruption, and a fully diversified economy. While Iraq is making progress, it's simply not in that position right now. Next up is RIY, or reinstatement. This means restoring a currency to a previous value or its former international status. The theory here is that the dinar could return to its value before the sanctions and wars of the past. Now, is this possible? It's certainly more realistic than a massive artificial RV. But an RII isn't a magic button that turns back time. The economy that supported that old value would also have to be completely restored. This requires huge banking reforms, full compliance with the IMF and World Bank, and a stable, transparent monetary policy. Iraq is working on these things, but it's a long, gradual process, not an overnight switch. So, what's the most likely scenario? That brings us to the float. A float is when a currency's value is determined by market supply and demand. It moves up and down based on real economic activity. Most major global currencies, like the dollar or the euro, operate on a free float. For a developing economy like Iraq, a managed float, also called a crawling peg, is far more probable. This means the central bank would guide the currency's value, allowing for slow, step-by-step adjustments over time. This is the most realistic path because it allows for control while reflecting real economic performance, not just speculation. So why do so many people believe in a huge overnight RV? A lot of it comes from rumors spread by so-called gurus online, a misunderstanding of how oil wealth translates to currency value, and frankly, a lot of emotional hope for a life-changing windfall. But the Central Bank of Iraq and the IMF have never ever announced a plan for a massive RV, instead of chasing rumors. Serious investors should focus on real indicators. Look at Iraq's foreign reserve levels, its inflation rates, government stability, and progress on central bank reforms like anti-money laundering efforts. These are the things that truly signal the health of the dinar. Based on all the economic data and expert analysis, the most likely future for the Iraqi dinar is a slow, controlled appreciation through a managed float. Beats. This means the dinar could gradually strengthen over months and years, not days. Think of it as a long-term speculative investment, not a lottery ticket. So, my final advice is this. Do your own research. Follow official statements from Iraq's central bank, not anonymous insiders. Understand that currency reform takes a very long time, and be wary of anyone promising you guaranteed dates or profits. Spins. Thanks for watching Iraqi Dinar Alert. If you found this information helpful, RV, an RE, or a float. But what does it all mean? And more importantly, what's actually realistic? Let's cut through the noise and get to the facts. First up, let's talk about the big one, RV, or revaluation. This is when a country's central bank decides to officially increase the value of its currency. Many investors are hoping for a lottery-style win, thinking the dinar will jump from 1,300 per dollar to a 1-to-1 exchange rate overnight. But let's be real. In modern economics, a revaluation like that is almost unheard of. Real RVs are small, carefully planned adjustments backed by a super strong, diversified economy. To support a massive jump in value, Iraq would need a stable political scene, minimal corruption, and a booming private sector that doesn't just rely on oil. While Iraq is making progress, it's just not there yet. Next, we have reinstatement. ZIS. The idea of bringing the dinar back to a previous, stronger exchange rate. Maybe from before 2003. It sounds simpler than an RV, but it's not a magic reset button. For a currency to be reinstated to a past value, the economy needs to be just as strong as it was back then. This means rebuilding international trust, modernizing the entire banking system, and tackling corruption head. An RE is more plausible than a giant RV in the long run, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. It depends entirely on Iraq's stability and development over many years. So, what's the most likely path forward? That brings us to a float. A float is when a currency's value is determined by supply and demand in the market. Most experts believe Iraq will move towards a managed float. This means the central bank would still guide the currency's value, allowing for small, gradual increases over time. A managed float prevents economic shocks and allows the dinar to strengthen naturally. As Iraq's economy grows, it's not the overnight jackpot some are hoping for, but it is the most realistic and sustainable scenario for the dinar's future. So, why are there so many wild rumors about a massive RV? Honestly, it's a mix of wishful thinking, misinformation spreading in online groups, and content creators looking for clicks. People want to believe in a quick win. But remember, the Central Bank of Iraq has never announced a plan for a dramatic revaluation. Any secret dates or insider info you see online is almost certainly just speculation. So what should you, as a smart investor, actually pay attention to? Forget the rumors. Instead, watch official indicators. Keep an eye on Iraq's foreign currency reserves, its political stability, inflation rates, and of course oil revenue. Most importantly, only trust announcements from official sources, like the Central Bank of Iraq itself. The dinar could certainly gain value over time, but it will likely be a slow and steady climb through a managed float, not a sudden explosion in value. To wrap it up, a huge overnight RV is extremely unlikely. An RE is a long-term possibility that depends on major economic reforms. A managed float is the most practical and expected path forward. The Iraqi dinar is a long-term speculative investment, not a guaranteed lottery ticket. Stay informed, be patient, and always base your decisions on economic reality, not online hype. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content that cuts through the noise. See you in the next video.